So last but definitely not least, Mr. Robot is one of my most favorite shows ever in the world, and I tell you this, Sam Esmail is he is a genius. He's an absolute genius. The way he crafts and laces and weaves these motifs and themes into this entire series is just mind-blowing, and it's a wonder to me why it's not more popular, because it's absolutely like, it's a puzzle, it's cryptic, it's just, oh my gosh, this show is so loaded. So anyway, I'm gonna go into the latest episode of Mr. Robot. If you don't watch Mr. Robot, I by no means mean for you to stick around, but if you do, please stick around, because I definitely want to explore this episode. It was quite a mind blow. Like, anyway, so if you're not going to stick around, thanks for tuning in to Unravel. I will talk to you in my next pod, I guess. But if you're going to stay, just be warned that there's going to be spoilers. I'm talking about season 4, episode 7, where, gosh, guys, it's just, there's so much. So again, I'm going to warn you that there will be spoilers. I will be going into a lot of details with Mr. Robot. So if you are planning to watch this series or haven't watched this episode yet, I urge you to step away. Or if you don't care about me spoiling it, then by all means keep watching. But okay, you've been warned. I'm going to go into it. Here's your next chance. Get off, click off. Here we go. All right, so Mr. Robot, season 4, episode 7, we learn a really, really dark secret that Elliot has been keeping within his psyche, buried and dormant, and just cryptic. I mean, it just retro looking throughout the earlier episodes and seasons, and remembering certain events and just pulling them out now. Like, it's like, wow, man, like these details have been dormant this entire time, and now things start to make more sense. So just a quick recap. So Elliot has Mr. Robot. Mr. Robot is his alter ego. He coaxes him into doing certain things. He's like his, superpower, I guess you would say, his other personality, and in which is his dad. So Mr. Robot is his dad. Mr. Robot is, his hype man, his strength, all these things. So if you watch Mr. Robot, we know that Vera kidnaps or holds hostage Krista, kidnaps Elliot, and he tries to utilize Mr. Robot to break Elliot. When we learn this deep, dark secret of Elliot's past, and man, that was just just the way, I'll be honest, like the first 2 acts, because the way that Sam wrote this particular episode, he broke it up in acts. I think it was maybe 5 acts or something like that. The first 2 or 3 acts, I was starting to get a little annoyed, because I was like, okay, like Vera just gets on my nerves, I think. But you start to appreciate what he's doing towards the 3rd act of this episode, because you start seeing this unraveling of Elliot's persona and his past. And so we see that Krista's held hostage, and Krista is Elliot's psychotherapist. And so we see that, Vera is this gangster guy who's trying to get into Elliot's head, so that way Elliot will somehow work with him and, give him the spoils of his dreams. And so anyway, fast forward, we see Krista unraveling Elliot's psyche, and we start seeing these, dormant things and thoughts and memories that then become a dark reality when he starts realizing what actually happened in his childhood. And so, recapping, we learn that, from various scenes throughout Mr. Robot and, various seasons, we learn that, Elliot knows that he was he was pushed out of a window, whether it was his own jumping out of a window, then it was his dad pushing him out the window. That's what he, first remember. I think that was one of his original memories. Then Darlene says that, which is his sister, says that she pushed him out the window. We learn in this episode that he essentially jumped out of the window himself when we learned that Mr. Robot was actually molesting him as a child. So child sexual exploitation by his own dad. And that was crazy. That was a crazy, crazy, because it's such a sick norm in our society, and we really don't talk about it much, but it happens a lot. It happens quite often. And it was just so gut-wrenching. And Rami Malek, gosh, dude, kudos, because, oh, man. My robot. Kudos to Rami Malek, because his acting was just absolutely phenomenal in this episode. Absolutely phenomenal. The fear, the angst, the pain, everything you saw. You saw everything happen in that episode. In that scene, And so anyway, so she uncovers that dark fact in Elliot's life. A lot of things just start popping up. I start thinking back on all the episodes. I'm like, okay, now that we know this, let's think back to some earlier episodes and scenes within the series and start to pick these motifs out. Because now that we know that, the way that Sam weaves these stories together and, puts these stories together, I'm thinking back at the very first episode. I was like, what was that episode where he busts that guy for dark web pedophilia? He was peddling child pornography or something like that. That was the very first episode, first scene of the entire series. And I think back and I'm like, Elliot is a hacker vigilante who, feels it upon himself to expose these child abusers. And that blew my absolute mind. So, we see the season 1, episode 1, the first scene. Elliot sets a precedence for us. We didn't even know it. He sits face to face with a a child exploitative dark web operator. And he's sitting here face to face with him, no fear, this is what I'm doing. I've already alerted the FBI. They're already on their way. And we even see here that Elliot, this guy tries to bribe him with money. And Elliot even then was like, no, I don't care about money. He cares about the principle of putting these child abusers in their place. And that was just crazy to me that was how many years ago was that? Maybe 3 years ago when Mr. Robot first started. I forget. I think it was, 3 years ago, 2015. And so anyways, that just blew my mind. That blew my mind that was the very first scene of the first episode. And Sam Esmail this entire time knew what he was writing this series into. it just blew my mind. And how seamless it is. Like, you know how like sometimes writers will lose their touch and forget certain things that they like prime the series with, and like it never gets answered or anything like that. Sam Esmail ties all the loose streams together. It's just absolutely amazing. So that was the first. And then in series 2, what is it? Season 2. We see that he is trying to rescue these he was also in the dark web in one of the episodes in season 2. And we saw that there were some trafficked children on the dark web, and they showed some of that. And it just makes more and more sense. Like, these themes of child exploitation, child sexual abuse, and like how his vigilante abilities with hacking could possibly help the situation. And it started getting me thinking, and I was like, man, this was a dormant motif this entire time. This was a dormant motif. It's just, it blows my mind. Like, we're one day away from the next episode tomorrow. I'm filming this on a Saturday, so it showcases on Sundays. I just like, it gets me thinking, because it's like, okay, this was a dormant motif, so now I have to go back to the very first, like I have to go back and rewatch the entire series from season 1 on and pick out all these dormant motifs. But I have a feeling that more is going to come out, you know, like for instance, when Krista reminds Elliot that he put Darlene, his sister, in the closet to keep her safe. Like, there's some unanswered questions there too. Like, so did Mr. Robot also molest Darlene? That the answer is yes. And, you know, what else did he do? You know, what else did he do that was really dark? So there's just so many things. Like, it's just crazy to me. And another thing that like gets me is that this entire series, season 1 through right now, there's been little Easter eggs. Like, you can actually go log on to the web addresses. You can actually go into the, what are those secret chats called? I forget, but you can actually you can actually send emails to the emails that they showcase on the show. You can actually log on to these, you know, websites. You can actually try to hack, like, you know, there's actually hacking exercises. And what I think, like, this is just my theory. Like, it might not be it, it might be it. But it's just crazy how everything sort of aligns, because nowadays we see all of these real life cases of child sexual exploitation. We see the Epstein story, you know, just infiltrating. It won't go away now. Like, at first, like it did, it was very silent. That's a whole nother pod. But like, for a while it just stayed silent. Like, nobody talked about it. It just died down. The story died down until like us, we kept these memes going. We kept these like these pieces of information floating around the internet until like it sort of forced the establishment or whatever, like these people to, you know, give, like, not let it die. So anyways, it's coming at this aligned time where we're actually seeing this play out in the news a lot, or, you know, for whatever doesn't get reported in the news. And I have a feeling that Sam Esmail is building up some sort of army, like some sort of vigilante team that will battle these pedo peddlers, these child sexual abuse exploitators and dark web operators. I mean, and I'm all for it. I mean, if that's what he's doing, I mean, it makes sense to me. Does it not make sense? Like, he makes all these exercises actually work. Like, you can actually log on to these websites. You can actually, you know, try to hack through these exercises. There's an actual course, an obstacle course. And I don't know, man. Like that's just my hypothesis of what I feel like a component of the series. For those that can decrypt and decode, like, I don't know. Let me know if you watch Mr. Robot. Let me know what you think. Like, kids, like, it's just, it aligns to such a time as this that, like, it's just such a dark iceberg that people are not talking about with the child abuse. And it's just, it's in Hollywood, it's in the government, it's in, the Vatican, like all these highly ivory tower sectors of our society, and nobody can do anything about it because they're in control. What if this is some sort of unvocalized call to action, and only those who can see what Sam Esmail is planning, like, is in a cryptic way telling us, like, what if those who could read into that actually know what's going on? Anyways, I know this is like, I don't know, I kind of went into the rabbit hole there, but this is a rabbit hole type of show, and I'm still here for it. I just am. Anyway, whew, that was a lot. But yeah, Sam Esmail in summary, Sam Esmail knew from the very beginning, episode 1, what he was setting us up into. And those motifs are resting in the entire series, and it takes us who love Mr. Robot to go back and rewatch the entire series. That way we can pick up those motifs. That's my theory. That's my story. That's what I'm sticking to. Anyway, cool. I rambled for a good hour. So send me your questions to 832-299-5176. Again, that's 832-299-5176. Don't send me perverse things, please, because I will ignore you and I block you. And yeah. Be sure to like this, comment, and subscribe to the other channels that I mentioned. And I will see and talk to you guys in my next pod. Let me know what topics you want me to cover. And yeah, let me know. Bye.